Good morning, everybody. This is Amy with Barbecue Spot. I'm here today with Jeff Stehney, and now I never know how to introduce Jeff because I say owner of Joe's Kansas City, Pitmaster of Slaughterhouse-Five, KCBS Hall of Fame Barbecue Pitmaster, TV extraordinaire. I mean, Jeff has done so many things I don't know where to start.
You can start with a few of those. I'm probably most proud of being the owner of Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Mm-hmm. That's what I've done the longest. But remember, I'm also the Pitmaster of Slaughterhouse-Five, and that's how we got started. And we've been cooking for 29 years in the competition circuit.
That's amazing. Now, what started first, the restaurant or competition?
Oh, without a doubt, competition. I
Okay.
had no dreams of doing the restaurant thing. I wanted to find a hobby that was interesting. I love food. I think I'm a good cook. And so when I got introduced to barbecue competitions in the late 80s, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the camaraderie, the competition, the fact you might be able to sneak a beer in there somewhere. And at the end of the day, there was a winner. And so, like I said, we just finished this past weekend our 29th American Royal in a row.
Wow.
Our first one was in 1990, and we still have fun doing it.
Now, I saw you get called up on the stage for was it the Legends of the American Royal? Is that what they called
we
you?
we were first place in the Legends of the Royal. What they do is all the teams that have been there 20 years or more, they put us in a separate pool. We don't cook separate food, and then the high point team, out of the ones that have been there for more than 20 years, we got a Yeti cooler for it. So
really
the Yeti coolers are really neat.
I was going to say, do you really need that Yeti cooler? Because I can store it for you if you're running out of room.
It says,
Those are really cool.
Grand Champion Legends of the Royal.
You're keeping that
Sort of
one.
like it's an old timer award. It's an old timer award to keep us all coming back.
You're younger than I am, I think.
But we were also second in brisket this year at the
Awesome.
Open, fourth in ribs, and sixth overall out of 458 teams. So
Excellent.
29 years into it, I can still cook.
That's awesome. That is amazing. And I know you're not behind the counter cooking here every day. I mean, you have so many people that come through here. You've got a whole team of people that
Yep.
you've had to teach to cook like Jeff
Yep.
Stehney.
Yeah, we've got over 250 employees in the Joe's Kansas City company, and the most important thing, the thing that I have the most impact over, the thing that I spend most of my time on, is sourcing proper meats, making sure that we are cooking them consistently, and making sure that we're staying up to date on anything we can do to be better, safer, tastier, and more popular with our customers.
Yeah. Now we are right now at your location in Mission
Yes.
on 47th Street.
Yes.
This is the original Joe's.
Yep.
Has been here how many years?
Boy, that's of course I'm not ready for some of the questions. So
I like to put
this
you on the
restaurant
spot.
has been here for 23 years.
23 years.
23 years.
And when you told Joy, your wife, that you wanted to start a barbecue restaurant, was she all in, or did she say, "God, you're nuts"?
You know, I don't think she ever said she was nuts. She just worried for about 5 years. Just that was it. 5 years of not sleeping.
Okay.
But she's always been behind it. We're a great partnership and a team. She works probably harder than I do now.
I see her here more than I see you. I think when I
she
stop
likes
in.
she likes to be in front of the customers. So if I'm here, but I'm usually downstairs working on something new, or out at a restaurant, kind of tasting things. You usually just don't see me. I've always been a back of the house kind of guy.
Yeah. When you're home, who cooks more, you or Joy?
I do all the cooking.
Do you
All
really?
the cooking. I do all the shopping, all the cooking, and I don't clean anything.
Okay, Joy, hello. I need one of him, please.
No,
I
I
love to cook. I just have no time for it. So you're one of the busiest men I know. I don't know how you have time.
I just make time. So being a cook, I have a really well-stocked pantry. So I am busy, but I get home and, like I said, I can cook just the littlest amount. With the littlest amount of ingredients, I think you can make a good meal. You don't have to go to
Are
grocery
you
store
usually
to do
live
it.
fire cooking?
I do a lot of live fire cooking. I've got a wonderful outdoor kitchen. I've got a lot of different grills I've accumulated over the years. So I would say that during the season, 75% of my meals are done outside.
That's wonderful.
But
Joy's
not-
a lucky one.
Right, but not always barbecue. We
Of
cook a
course.
lot of barbecue in real life. And the way, I think Amy, you understand this, in Kansas City, we call barbecue something that's a little bit different maybe from what the rest of the country says. The rest of the country is a little more, I'm not saying they're wrong. They're going to go out and barbecue a chicken breast, and we really define barbecue more as the core meats and slow smoking here in Kansas City. I don't do a lot of barbecuing at home, but I do a lot of grilling and a lot of live fire cooking.
Yeah, we debate that. Is barbecue a noun or a verb or
Exactly.
an adjective,
I think it's some of it's
Come
where you
over
are.
for a barbecue. I am
Yes.
barbecuing.
Right.
This is great barbecue beef.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
So I think it's whatever they want it to be. I think, as somebody who's been in the business for almost 30 years, as somebody who sells barbecue equipment and smokers and sells rubs and seasonings and all under multiple different brands, if they want to call it barbecue, I'm going to raise my hand and say you're right. Because anything that gets people thinking about getting outside and cooking outdoors and using proper ingredients and learning how to cook better is better for me in the barbecue business.
So when you first started in competition barbecue, and granted, the industry has just exploded in the last 10 years, so it wasn't as well known. You weren't going to these contests with 600 teams competing. You didn't have your own line of rubs and sauces.
Nope.
So how did you start? I mean, did you make your own from scratch? Did you find things and experiment? Where did you go?
What happened back then, and it's interesting because now, like my barbecue store or your company, you guys distribute and make a lot of things. We sell 50 different rubs here. You can just go buy anything. When I started, there really weren't hardly. I can't remember anything. I bought cookbooks, read cookbooks, studied recipes, and started experimenting that way. I won't tell all the recipes, but I know exactly where they are in certain books that I thought to myself, well, this is an interesting recipe. This was a book about Memphis barbecue greats that Carolyn Wells published a long time ago. And I'm like, that just seems like it's too harsh. I would cook it on, it was supposed to be a great rib recipe, and I turned it into my brisket recipe. And it's been our competition brisket rub for a long, long time.
That's where the art of barbecuing comes in more than the science. I mean, you
Exactly.
know the science. You know how meat is going to react when it gets to the right heat and the right smoke and all of that. But the flavor aspect is the artistry.
Yes, it is.
That comes in.
It is, and real barbecue, and I want to be careful. I say I don't want to annoy too many people. Real barbecue, like we do in the restaurants, has not changed very much over the last 25 or 30 years. The competition barbecue, on the other hand, has changed dramatically. Just in the last, it changes every 5 or 6 years, it seems like.
Explain that to me. How is competition barbecue different than what you're cooking for restaurant barbecue?
I think in the restaurants, we still try to cook barbecue the old-fashioned way. We put our briskets, I put our pork butts on at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. They cook 15, 16 hours. Low, slow, not a lot of wrapping, not a lot of extra things. It's just barbecue kind of in its natural form. We leave a lot of the fat cap on so it slow cooks. What I've seen in competition is that as more and more people do it, and it's not just a hobby, it's a livelihood for some of them, competition barbecue, when we used to do it a lot, can get long. I mean, you're tending your fire all night. Guys who are out there cooking 30, 40 weekends a year don't want to do that. So they've developed and moved recipes into a realm where they're coming in, they're injecting and marinating and seasoning at night, and they're coming in at no later than 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6, and they're firing up their cookers. They're cooking for about 6 hours, and that's it.
So that's hot and fast.
Hot and fast
versus
is
our
really
traditional low and slow.
Hot and fast is dominating competition barbecue right now. A lot of it is the 55, the drum cookers or the can the can cookers are kind of made to cook hot and fast. And I would have poo-pooed it even 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm Mr. Hot and Fast. I love the opposites. I love the fact that I can come here and eat really good slow smoke barbecue. But in competition, I've developed a little bit of a liking of those flavors. I didn't think I would for a while.
There's a texture difference to me. A low and slow brisket to me is firmer, and you can slice it.
Yes.
And a hot and fast is almost
almost crumbly.
I hate to say, but like a pot roast.
It is. It's a lot like
It's tender
pot roast.
and juicy, but it doesn't have the body that
it
a low
doesn't.
and
It doesn't
slow
have the
does.
depth. It doesn't have the depth that it does because they're only cooking them for 2 or 3 hours. It still has a lot of flavor. I think one of the negatives to fast and hot cooking is that you have to buy even higher quality meat to get away with it. This is getting away from what the essence of barbecue really was going back into the South 100 or more years ago. It was cuts of meat that nobody else wanted. They were the butchers at cuts, and they were the poor people. And then we've gotten away from that with competition because now we're buying Wagyu briskets. Now that's fine.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing. It's unbelievable. Well, I think the difference there, Amy, is that the Wagyu briskets they'll take the abusive cooking. They've got so much marbling in them, and they'll take that abuse and still actually have a little bit of snap to it. So we've had to buy more expensive meat as we've gone to hot and fast. Now, I'm not trying to judge anything there because I'll whatever arena they want to compete in with barbecue, I'll go compete. If you want me to do restaurant barbecue, I'll do that. You want me to go down to the American Royal, or you want me to go to DeSoto, Kansas in 2 weeks, I'll do that, and I'll compete at whatever it is. But if you want to win, you have to figure out what's winning.
Yes.
In the restaurant business, I can just get away with just being good. Okay, I'm popular. Oh, it's warm and fuzzy. Competition, warm and fuzzy doesn't get you jack anything. So you've got to learn what they want, and you got to learn to cook it.
So, maybe an odd question, but there are such things, I believe, as successful failures. Have you ever had something that happened that you went, oh my gosh, this is a disaster, and then suddenly it turned into a pot of gold for you?
You know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I think I have something very similar to that. And I never understood why barbecue guys served what I would call inferior meat. There's a problem here where barbecue's only so good. If you can't hand cut it, if you can't keep it super fresh, it doesn't last very long.
Okay.
So it wasn't really a failure on our part. It was my looking at it, and we created our Smoky Joe with that in mind. And now I'm not telling you that it's not good meat, but it might be the burn ends that are set a little bit too long. It might be an end of a brisket that's a little bit dry and crumbly. I don't feel a need to have to serve that because we're going to go ahead and chop up our leftover rib bones. That rib meat is great, and it always stays kind of firm. So we're pulling leftover rib meat, we're pulling leftover sauce, we're pulling pork, ribs, brisket, burn ends, and all chopping them up in sauce. And it's a wildly popular dish that I don't think very many people do. And I think that, like I said, the thing that it did for us was allowed me to say, no, this isn't good enough. So we'll offer Smoky Joe. We'll chop it up and put it in sauce. People love barbecue sauce. We'll put it in sauce, sell it $1 cheaper, and they feel like they're getting a value and they're getting something really good. But it's not maybe the brisket that I would want to serve that minute.
Oh,
and
awesome.
so it's not really a failure. It's a reaction to not failing.
It's a repurpose.
Exactly. I don't want to serve it unless it's the best, but I can't afford to every piece of meat has some bad spots in it. And so if we just get used to lobbing those off and putting them in Smoky Joe, people love that, and we're able to keep the quality we want for Joe's brisket.
Awesome. And you are known for being a stickler for quality. I've worked with you personally on these products and seen us go for weeks and months sometimes getting something just perfect, especially when you want to come out with something new.
Exactly.
But one of my favorite of all your products, my personal favorite, French fry seasoning. I mean, this isn't barbecue, it's French fries. French fries are something on the side of your barbecue. But people come here and rave about, oh my God, Joe's French fries.
Yeah. They used to always ask to take stuff home. We used to put it in little containers for everybody and all that. And eventually it was through working with you guys that said, listen, and barbecue rubs they have been up until the last 10 years, a hard sell. They sit in the grocery stores. Nobody knows what to do with them. We're doing a good job. You are. I am with my store. Everything we do on TV and media is teaching people, hey, go grab a bottle of it and go outside and cook it. And the fry seasoning was a natural because it's sort of a mixture of it's a mixture of a few of our rubs. It's got a couple other secret ingredients in it. We were just doing an event at the Royal this Thursday night for the new incoming CEO of the KCBS. And we've got a chicken wing that we smoke. We just put salt and pepper on it. We smoke them, and then we drop them in the fryer we cool them down, and then we drop them in the fryer for about 2 minutes, and we hit them with French fry seasoning, and people were going nuts.
Oh, awesome.
Just absolutely fantastic.
What a great idea.
Because it didn't taste too much, and that was sort of the challenge, because we're getting ready to do a party at the Royal, but everyone's going to be cooking barbecue for the next 3 days, so we ended up doing meatballs and chicken wings and things that weren't maybe traditional barbecue.
You let me know when those get on the menu, because those meatballs
That's a 180 room thing. Our private dining room, the 180 room. That's Dan Drake, our chef there. It's his private recipe. Those are really good.
Those were delicious. Talk about the big meat a little bit. Big meat, meaning briskets, pork butts.
Big cuts of meat.
Big muscle meats.
Big cuts of meat. You know, when I cook barbecue, I like to cook low and slow. I like that product there is designed for large cuts of meat. You need to cook them a little bit slow. It's got a lot of sugar, and it's got more sugar in it than the French fry seasoning, more sugar than we would put on our ribs, because we cook our briskets and our pork butts usually a little bit below 200 degrees all night. Okay. So you get a nice mellow caramelization. Whereas if we were to cook at 250 or 300, you couldn't cook with some of my restaurant rubs in a fast and hot environment because there's just a little too much sugar.
Sugar's a burn.
But that big meat seasoning, I think that is really that's what we created for public consumption. That was based on that original brisket recipe that I created. I kind of stole it out of a cookbook, but.
Well, you know, everything starts from somewhere, and then we kind of put our own touches to it, right?
Exactly. So that really is it's really almost the identical product that we've been cooking our brisket and pork butts and burn ends with Joe's for 20-some years.
So I've been using it, though, just in hamburgers at home.
Oh, it's wontiful.
I mean, it just makes the best hamburgers, so it doesn't have to be a big meat. Yeah, the flavor is still...
It has a lot going on. It has it has black pepper, white pepper, red pepper. It has all. I mean, I think I'm a real believer in layering and building bigger and bigger flavors. You don't need weird flavors. You just need to layer them properly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, your sauce has been infamous for a long time. I mean, there was nothing like the original Joe's sauce.
Yeah, it's
You don't cook with this. Talk to our home cooks a little bit, though. You're not layering sauce on a rack of ribs and putting them on the grill. This is a finishing.
We certainly don't want to do that. We really want barbecue. Barbecue sauce is a condiment. It's a condiment. It can be used in a cooking sauce. If I was going to tell you how to do that, you might want to take those ribs. We might take and season those ribs. We could use big meat. I've got a couple other things I do. I might combine these two to do a rib. You'd cut down on some of the sugar. This one would get it a little saltier. We could cook them a little hotter. We cook those ribs for about 2.5 hours. Now, where I might take the sauces, I might take and make a mixture of butter, melted butter, barbecue sauce, and maybe a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of honey, and pour it over the ribs and wrap them up real tight. That's where we could use the sauce sort of as a basting, as a braising liquid. So maybe equal parts of sauce and broth and 1 stick of butter, and maybe half a cup of honey or added brown sugar. So you've got a little sweet barbecue thing going on. And when you braise those, that's all we're really doing. We wrap up barbecue, where if you add liquid, you're sort of braising. So it could be used as a braising liquid, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to take that rib and put it on that 300-degree grill and slather barbecue sauce on it and set it on it for 20 minutes. The barbecue sauce is going to burn, and it's not going to be a great flavor. Maybe, especially if you're good at controlling your fire, you could when you know your ribs are done, you could brush them with sauce and maybe set them on the grill for 5 minutes. That's about all I would want to do. You don't want to cook that sauce on there because it's going to burn.
Great tip. Thank you. And one more comment on your sauce. You know, I've got a 13-year-old son at home. He has eaten a lot of barbecue with me. You know, this is his favorite.
I know, that's what you said.
I have a place blocks from my house. I can go pick up barbecue, but he says, Mom, we have to do carry out because he has to bring it home to put Joe's sauce on it.
Okay, good. Wonderful. We love that.
Oh yeah, he should write testimonials for you.
Good.
Well, Jeff, we really appreciate your time. This has been really fun getting to talk and hear more about your story, and maybe sometime we can get a little peek in the back and look in a smoker with you.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Y'all take care. We'll be back with you soon.